Wow. Garnet wants to take the gym. Text? He wants to text the gym. Hey. He wants to celebrate with his... Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, home of the Lemmy vs. Limey games. I'm your official Zeke Lamone, and today Lemmy and Limey will be facing off in Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems was directed by the Safdie brothers, and it stars Adam Sandler as Howard. Now, although critics and audiences agree that Adam Sandler's performance is stellar in this movie, they say the overall story is where the divide really begins. But where will it land on the lemon scale? Let's find out. Act 1 tips off in Relo Mine, Ethiopia, where someone takes the term break a leg way too seriously. While chaos presumes outside, two guys go inside to get the uncoveted uncut gem. We then can transition into the gem into Howard's ass as he's getting a treatment to see if he has colon cancer. Now, this whole opening scene, besides the gem, is just a big, but why? Because the guy who broke his leg, it just felt like they needed that to grab our attention really quick, because, you know, it's gore. And a little more on the doctor's appointment later, but spoiler alert, it turns out to be nothing. So therefore, our first points again goes to the man who's never satisfied, Limey. After his appointment, Howard goes to the jewelry store that he owns, where they have water, but Phil here wanted some soda. Him and Nico are there on behalf of Arno, someone that Howard owes money to. They help clear up some of that debt by taking his watch and some money that he picked up from earlier. He then leaves the store to go to his apartment, where his girlfriend Julia, played by Julia Fox, is in bed with a friend. They have a little argument over why they weren't calling each other and blah 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 blah. It's just noise. It's honestly just noise. But she simply ends the argument by saying, "Come cuddle with me." Honestly, a very clever girl. Seriously. Girls, if you ever get in an argument with your man, just say "come cuddle." It'll most likely end. Howard then leaves his apartment to go play some bets and pawn some stuff. Now, this is a great setup of the world that we officially live in, Howard's world. From the guys beating him up, him getting an argument with his girlfriend, pawning and placing more bets, possibly putting him into more debt. It just gives us a setup for what kind of world we live in. I gotta give a Lemmy to that. He gets back to his shop. Kevin freaking Garnett is there. And here at Lemon Studios, all great Celtics players get a Lemmy. But hold on. Howard knew that KG was showing up today. So why would he then go to the store, leave, do all that stuff? Yeah, it sets up the world, but I don't feel like he would leave if that big of a client was coming to his store. So, a Limey. Kevin was brought in by Damani, who is played by one of the best in the game today, Lakeith Stanfield, and he is here to buy something from Howard. But the uncut gem arrives, and Howard could care less about anything in the room, that even one of his employees quits. He just does not care. Man, so much goes on in these scenes, you just don't feel like Howard can breathe, and neither can we. It's freaking awesome. Another Lemmy. Garnett wants to take the gem, but Howard says no because of an auction that he's given it to. But after enough peer pressure and KG giving him his title ring, Howard then gives him the gem in what begins the most frustrating storyline in this whole entire movie. Howard is back at his house watching the Celtics game because after KG left with the gem, he transferred all of his bets over to Kevin Garnett alone. His wife Dina, played by Queen Elsa herself, Adina Menzel, is really mad at Howard for not being in their son Benny's room to help him sleep. And I just love the way Dina is looking at him. Like, what are you thinking there, Dina? He's a bit of a fixer-upper? After his son falls asleep, we learn that Howard and Dina are planning on separating, but they won't tell their kids until after Passover, so they are into the unknown until then. And on the cab ride to his apartment, Howard watches his bet come to fulfillment, and he is, excited to say the least. He wants to celebrate with his girlfriend Julia, and it's honestly a really cute scene, but the texting in the closet went on a little bit too long for me, and also his ringer was on, and he's really not that far away from her, and I feel like she would have heard his ringer going off, so I didn't really buy that she was really that surprised by him. So I have to give a Limey to end Act 1. Act 2 tips off with Howard waiting for Damani at the auction place where he is supposed to bring the gem. However, Garnett still has it in Philly. So Howard makes Damani drive all the way back to Philly so he can get the gem. But Damani somehow escapes Howard. Well, Howard is playing basketball, and then he just goes in the locker room and does not let him back in, and Howard then has to take a bus back home, gymless. Why? Just why? Howard is now at his daughter's play, but in the midst of messing around with his son, he sees Nico and Phil. He then gets up to confront them, and it causes a chase scene. Why a chase scene? Why did he even confront them? Because movie, that's why! Arno arrives and they drag Howard into his car. Arno then tells Howard that he wants his money and he wants his now. Howard's like, hey, just call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. They have helped thousands and they'll help you too. Arno then tells him that he canceled his Garnett bet. This makes Howard really upset, and this is when the great acting of Adam Sandler comes into play. Play to his strings with how he is performing. Like, you know that Adam Sandler, I don't know what you want me to do, and like, in all these types of things that he does in different movies. But he's playing it angrily and it's for dramatic effect. I really hope I see him in more dramas later down the future, because I do think that we are past the Adam Sandler comedy era. Absolutely great. So yes, a Lemmy for Adam Sandler. Howard is stripped naked and thrown into the trunk of his car. He calls Dina up to help him get out. And then when she realizes that he is naked in the trunk, she realizes reindeer are better than people. After the play, Howard looks for Damani at the Weeknd concert because Damani tells Howard that he has the gem. At the Weeknd concert, the Weeknd is saying he won't perform because he is blinded by the light, except for a black light. And when Howard finally finds Damani, Damani tells him that KG still has the freaking gem. This storyline! Later in the bathroom, Julia and the Weeknd are doing some drugs because when the Weeknd up, that's the real him. He wants to feel it coming with Julia, but Julia says no touchy. However, that's not what Howard sees, and the Weeknd and Howard get in a huge fight and get kicked out of the club. Well, Howard does. I'm not going to kick out the Weeknd. And then Howard and Julia get in a huge fight and break up. It's a very, very good scene overall. Perfect for their relationship, to me anyway. And I really like how we stay on Julia the whole time, and that when she's walking away, because we actually see that she does actually like Howard. Howard is at work trying to call KG's agency, but Julia is calling trying to make things right. Howard is not buying it and they start arguing. Howard changes lines to talk to KG's agent. Things escalate. Then KG shows up with Damani. Door won't open. They bang a hammer on the door. Damani and KG start yelling at Howard. In the midst of all this, Wallace is here. Is another person that Howard owes money to. Garnett wants to buy the gym. Howard keeps saying no. They finally get in after putting a screwdriver in the detector. Garnett says, give me my ring so you can leave. Howard doesn't have the ring. When KG leaves, Damani and Howard get in an argument because of the money that was lost. Howard's doctor calls about his results from the beginning of the movie. Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it? Damani breaks into his safe and grabs his watches and drops some red liquid into Howard's fish tank. Oh yeah, Howard doesn't have cancer. Storyline meant nothing. Limey. Howard then leaves his office to get the gym, but Julia shows up trying to make amends and says she rushed here. Howard isn't buying it because he calls her out on how much of a rush she is if she got a smoothie on the way here, then knocks a smoothie all over her and goes into the elevator. End of scene. Although there was a Limey in there, I mean, that scene was freaking awesome. So much chaos and sound editing, acting was great, directing was phenomenal. Gotta give a Lemmy. It is now Passover time, and we learned that Arno and Howard are family members, and that KG had a bad game because he did not have the gem. Howard also tries to get back with Dina here because Julia is now selling the apartment after the breakup. Although Dina just laughs at his face and realizes some things never change and tells Howard to let it go. This overall is a very good scene. I really like it. We get some character development for Arno and just how the overall story is, and how the family kind of likes Howard more than Arno. So, a Lemmy. It is now auction time, and Howard finds out that his gem is not worth as much as he originally thought, so he gets Gooey to up the price up more because he believes KG will buy it no matter what the price is. But, of course, it goes wrong, and KG does not buy it, and Gooey ends up buying the gem for $190,000. This storyline. Phil then beats up Howard for still not having Arno's money, and then he goes back to his office, and that's when Julia shows up, and Howard admits he's a f*** up, and they make up. Yay, love? Howard then calls KG to sell the gem to him, so after all this, Garnett still gets the gem. Kind of feel like we just watched all this for nothing. Whatever, it's Howard. It makes sense. When Garnett shows up, he is rightfully very frustrated at Howard for taking so long. But after he gets his money, he then decides to bet everything on Garnett again. Oh my god.
Alright, I'm not a athlete. This is my way. This is how I win.
No, it's not. Julia then takes the money to Mohegan's son to bet the $100,000 that KG just gave Howard. Arno and his goons then show up, and Howard tells them about the bet, and they try to make him to cancel it, but Howard says, no, I'm not going to do it this time. Once they find out Julia's at the Mohegan Sun, they go to try to stop her betting. But then the screwdriver from earlier falls, and Howard will not let them out of the door. And that is the end of Act 2. An absolute great setup for this final act to happen. Act 3 tips off with an actual tip-off that KG wins. This is very significant for Howard's bet, as Arno and his goons look on. Now, the fact that this movie is able to make us care about an old basketball game that we already know the outcome of, and to make non-sports fans actually care about a basketball game. I remember watching this with my friend Jarrett, and he was actually really invested in this. It's a Lemmy within itself, so I have to reward it to that. Julia is hiding from one of the goons inside this one guy's room that's been trying to get with her the whole entire time. And this guy is absolutely just pathetic. We have to give a Limey to him. Just the way that he's talking and all that, and he just never shuts up. He's so annoying. But this is when Julia, the character, got my respect. The way that she is, you could tell she's in control. I mean, she's in complete control here. But she's not using any sexual type thing, you know, like touching or, you know, feeling or anything like that. Just, she doesn't have to use her sex appeal. Like, just her presence alone is authority. And I absolutely love that. So let me do her. Who would have thought a movie about basketball and betting that our two best characters were the women in this movie? Just great performance from Julia Fox to make Julia, the character, absolutely great. Celtics win, and Garnett did everything Howard needed him to do. I cannot believe it. Something actually went. Are you serious? We went through all that and he just got shot and died. Okay, Howard I actually get, but why did you shoot Arno? And that's how the movie ends. Yeah, no, I'm not happy about it, but it makes complete sense because let's be honest. I mean, if Howard was to continue on living, who's to say he wouldn't put another bet with how this movie's going and lost it all? So, yeah, a perfect end for a perfect character. It's a tragic ending, but it makes sense, so I give a point to Lemmy for this ending. Now, guys, the movie may be over, but the points are still going on, so let's get over to overall thoughts and standout moments. To say Uncut Gems was a frustrating movie is an understatement. I felt so many emotions going through this movie, but I felt like that was all by design. Our first standout performance goes to casting director Jennifer Vendetti. She got a group of people to make a list of characters that are unlikable, engaging to watch. Our second standout performance goes to the inconsistent storylines. It doesn't always have to be positive. From the broken leg, Howard's colon, the gym itself, I get, was supposed to be frustrating, but still, in the end, you're just kind of thinking, why? So, 5 points to Lemmy for the first standout, 5 points to Limey for the second standout. Our third and final standout goes to sound editor Warren Shaw. Uncut Gems uses the sound blend of people constantly over-talking each other, and it's just chaos and maddening, and it makes the world feel so real and organic, so 5 more points to Lemmy for that. Now this is how the lemon scale works. If the movie was bad, it's a sour lemon. If it's bad but it has some good, it's expired store-bought. If it's good but there's a lot of problems, store-bought lemonade. If the movie is just good and fine, it's a lemonade. If it's really, really good with some minor problems, it's a freshly squeezed lemonade. And if it's like a 10 out of 10 perfect movie, I have to be really nitpicking to find some problems, it's a strawberry lemonade. And with a score of 22-17 favoring our positive Lemmy, that makes Uncut Gems a lemonade. I would say the overall message of this movie is don't let greed get the best of you. Because Howard always needed more. Sure, he owed a lot of money, but he always wanted some for himself, and it cost him his life in the end. That would be it for us here at Lemon Studios, and I will see y'all here next time.